Hello again, everybody. Zach Attack is here with my TNA Impact Wrestling review for tonight, Thursday, November 8th, 2012. Of course, the last Impact before Turning Point, the pay-per-view this Sunday. Of course, I missed it last week, so I'm happy to watch it again this week. Overall, tonight's Impact, my opinion on it, going into the pay-per-view this Sunday, it was an okay Impact tonight. You know, he had some okay things, a very good opening match. The last segment kind of built a little fuel for the main event this Sunday. Little screwy match with a screwy ending. First and third match had screwy endings. So it was okay Impact tonight. And I know everyone's hoping the Turning Point exceeds expectations. Of course, after reading many positive reviews for Bound for Glory. Everyone thought Bound for Glory was pretty good from what I've read on the internet. Because I didn't watch Bound for Glory because I thought it would be another TNA crap pay-per-view. But apparently TNA is doing good lately. This Impact was decent. So we'll see what kind of momentum it would take for this Sunday with this Impact. And it was okay. For me, it was decent. We kick off Impact tonight with a segment involving Aces and Eights. Of course, the director of Chaos, a.k.a. Doc, a.k.a. Luke Gallows, a.k.a. Festus, who was, of course, unmasked last week, was confronted by Devon for getting his mask taken off, saying he wasn't a full-fledged member. Of course, he would be the one to team up with Devon tonight in a big match against Kurt Angle and Sting. We'll find out how that goes later on in the evening. Now on to our first match in the evening, which was AJ Styles taking on Bobby Roode. Of course, two men that will be involved in the triple threat #1 contenders match this Sunday at pay-per-view. James Storm, the third man, was commentating. Opening matchup, great opening matchup, very good one. These guys, Bobby Roode and AJ, have wrestled each other, teamed up with each other, so they know each other pretty well. Great counters, very exciting action back and forth. The ending was kind of screwy, but it was a great opener between these guys. The last 5 minutes were pretty exciting until the last 2 minutes were like kind of screwy. Roode couldn't beat AJ. Both guys were getting it all on the line, beating each other up. The James is happiness, of course, seeing his two opponents this Sunday beating the crap out of each other, weakening each other, so Storm could get the victory this Sunday in the #1 contenders triple threat. So Storm was watching the match as Roode and AJ beat each other up, and nearly towards the last few minutes, Roode had enough. He was ready to get the win no matter what. He was ready to get himself disqualified if he had to, because he couldn't beat AJ man on man. So he grabbed the chair. He was ready to nair AJ with it. However, Storm came out of the booth, distracted Roode for a little bit, while AJ went over the top rope and flew on top of Roode. But Storm kind of distracted AJ as well. AJ got distracted by Roode. Got distracted by Storm. And unfortunately, Styles was ready to go for a springboard splash, but Roode was able to duck it. AJ missed. Roode got the pin and the win thanks to a little inadvertent help of James Storm. Bobby Roode gets advantage and momentum towards their triple threat match this Sunday. Of course, the winner will get a #1 contender shot against whoever's the champ at Final Resolution. The loser who gets pinned doesn't get a title match until next year's Bound for Glory. And Storm and AJ had a little talk backstage. Basically, be every man for himself this Sunday for the #1 contendership. Because, of course, all three men have passion to get back in the title hunt. Get back the TNA title. Roode, of course, couldn't get a shot after losing this to Aries. So Roode's got to get himself back on track with Storm coming back, beating Roode at the pay-per-view Bound for Glory. Big momentum on his side. AJ's been kind of doing a slump lately. With the whole Claire Lynch shit out of the way, he can focus again on the TNA title. So we'll see who wins that match this Sunday. Now on to our next match, which was an intergender 2-on-1 handicap match. ODB challenged both Jesse and Tara to a 2-on-1 match. Since her hubby, on-screen hubby, Eric Young, was like most of the TNA roster who wasn't there tonight. They were at a house show in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, right here in Michigan, where I live. Of course, I went to Mount Pleasant, the same place last year, where I went for my house show review. If you didn't see that, watch that. So that put it out there. So with EY and many others, including RVD and others, at the house show in Mount Pleasant, ODB was to fend for herself in a 2-on-1 match against Jesse and Tara. And for the second week of the last couple, ODB gets the pin on Tara. Yes, she pinned the TNA champ, women's champ again. It was kind of a silly match. She beat the crap out of Jessie a little bit, but indeed ODB did get the victory on Tara. But Tara and Jessie had the last word by attacking ODB after the match, even spilling her flask wine all over her, as she was down for the count after a widow's peak from Tara. Of course, no one came to help since, of course, like I said, Eli was in Mount Pleasant tonight, but he won't be. He'll be in Florida with ODB teaming up against Tara and Jessie in a tag team match. Mixed tag. Hopefully, we'll see what happens there. So that's what the match kind of spewed, with ODB getting attacked after a match against Tara and Jessie. Tag team match between her and her husband, EY, and Tara and Jessie, the TMZ couple, the Hollywood couple, in a tag match Sunday, mixed tag. So there you go. ODB wins, but Tara and Jessie get the last word. But eventually, I think ODB will probably get a one-on-one shot against Tara. Basically, kind of like a handicap match, because Jessie may interfere in that match. So probably ODB may get the title shot one-on-one against Tara, probably at Final Resolution, especially if she pins Tara again this Sunday in another tag match. Now, on to our next match, which involved next segment, which involved Joseph Park, aka Abyss. When's Abyss coming back? Damn it, this Joseph Park thing's stupid. They need to get rid of this. As much as they need to get rid of Ace and Eights, Joey Ryan, and YBE. Well, I'm glad we didn't see this week. Anyway, Joseph Park got attacked last week. Of course, that's when Doc, aka Festus, aka Luke Gallows, was unmasked. And Joseph Park wants a piece of Aces and Eights this Sunday. And Hogan wouldn't allow it because of liability issues. Even Bully Ray came out because Bully Ray wrestled Joseph Park in their little feud. Even Bully Ray said, I believe in Joseph Park. The fan do too. Because Joseph Park's been getting more physical lately because he is Abyss. I keep saying that he is Abyss. So, Hogan signed it on the dotted line that Joseph Park will wrestle in a fight against Doc this Sunday at Turning Point. So, many new matches were made for the pay-per-view tonight, including that one. So, 2 matches were made. ODB and Eric Young taking on Tara and Jessie, and Doc taking on Joseph Park. And speaking of Ace and Eights, another match was made following this match, which was a tag match involving Doc and Devon teaming up against Kurt Angle and Sting. Now, Sting and Angle were going for the advantage earlier, but indeed, Ace and Eights, Devon and Doc were a very vicious tag team, isolating Sting in the corner, doing a lot of double teaming moves, until, of course, Kurt Angle got the hot tag and got in like a house of fire, attacking everybody with Jumans, and ready to dominate, and ready to destroy. And of course, Sting got back in and was destroying everybody as well, destroying Doc. He delivered the Scorpion Death Drop on Doc. This is the ending. After the Scorpion Death Drop to Doc, Sting was ready to deliver the Scorpion Death Lock. However, Devon came in with a bat, got him and Doc disqualified, as Devon wailed Sting with the bat. But indeed, Sting and Angle were on top of Doc and Devon after the matchup, and even Bully Ray got in the action as well. Bully Ray came out, wanted to get his hands all over Devon, and he was hoping to finally put Devon through a table. But before Bully Ray could get Devon through a table, Devon went out of the way, and Devon was chased out of the Impact Zone by Bully Ray. With that, it was once again left with basically Doc and Sting and Angle, basically a 2-on-1. But with Ace and Eights, it's never 2-on-1 for long, as Sting was ready to deliver a big powerbomb under Doc. The rest of Ace and Eights, especially the Big Hot Joe, attacked Sting with a hammer, which led Doc to chokeslam Sting on the table, and eventually beat the crap out of Sting, nailing him in the head and his hand with the hammer. That's what we need, WWE. Hammers, weapons. Anyway, so there you go. It was an okay matchup. Screwy ending. We had 2 matches with screwy endings, with Bobby Roode winning over AJ after a screwy ending with Storm inadvertently interfering. And we had another Aces and Aces ending. And it just it was every fucking Aces and Eights match ends in disqualification. We never had a clear-cut victory. It's always a fucking screw job. victory. You know, Devon attacked Sting with the bat, causing disqualification. Like, every time there's an ace in an eights match, it's a fucking DQ. So, can we please have a no DQ match this Sunday between the ace and eights guys? And after Sting got attacked, and of course was injured for a while, Hogan got very mad about it because of course Hogan kind of depends on Sting to watch his back. But with Sting out, Angle is going to wrestle Devon this Sunday at Turning Point. As far as it wasn't Bully Ray taking on Devon this Sunday. But maybe Bully Ray will get involved, especially with all aces and eights matches, like I mentioned, ending in some sort of screw job disqualification. So there you go. Sting and Kurt Angle win by DQ. But Ace and Eights get the last word by attacking Sting and injuring him. Breaking his hand, apparently. With a hammer. Hammer. Had to do that. Anyway. On to gut check time. Because last week we saw Christian York, former member of the roster for a while, teaming up with a guy. He was a tag team guy. Wanted to be a singles guy now. And from the clips I saw, he was the only gut check guy who actually showed passion. I always complain about gut check like this because every gut check guy feels like they're going to get squashed. They don't show heart. Like, they know they're going to lose, but they don't have the passion to fight back. Christian York fought back. He looked very good from the clips I saw. And it was a unanimous yes from all three judges. First time I've ever seen that, as Christian York did get the contract. Like, mostly everyone gets a contract. Even a guy who eventually did not get a contract does get a contract. Ain't that right, Joy Ryan, who will be taking on RVD this Sunday for the X Division Championship with Matt Morgan suspended from ringside, ruling made by Hulk Hogan tonight. And I'm hearing that they're going to have all the other gut check guys be involved in a very special Thanksgiving edition of Gut Check on Thanksgiving night, because of course Impact will be on Thursday, Thanksgiving night. They announced that tonight as well. So there you go. Christian York gets a contract. And I told you about Morgan being banned from the match against Zima, against Joey Ryan and RVD this Sunday. And Hogan's like, I know, like, he had a weird laugh at the end. In that segment when he told Morgan, when Morgan and Joey Ryan crashed his office, when Hogan was worrying about Sting getting injured, blah, 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 blah. That's when Joey Ryan and Morgan came in, that segment. And Morgan's like, you don't know what you're messing with. Hogan's like, I know, and he had a weird laugh, so there you go. But that segment ending. Now on to our main event matchup, which was a 6-man tag involving the tag team champions, Hernandez and Chavo Guerrero, teaming up with the television champ, Samoa Joe, taking on their respective opponents for this Sunday, Kaz and Daniels and Magnus. Of course, Kaz and Daniels take on Chavo and Hernandez for the tag titles this Sunday. No DQ match between Joe and Magnus for the Sunday for the television title. Now, it was an okay matchup. You know, it was decent for a 6-man tag. The good guys were taking control. Of course, Chavo and Hernandez were really double-teaming pretty well in that matchup. And Joe got involved. He was really kicking the crap out of Magnus. And it ended up being Joe and Magnus in the end. And Joe was ready to deliver the big moves on Magnus. He was ready to deliver the Muscle Buster to Magnus. But Joe got distracted by Kaz and Daniels doing some double team moves. With Magnus still on top rope. Magnus, with Joe weakened thanks to a double team by Kaz and Daniels, got an elbow from the top with Joe down. 1, 2, 3. Magnus, with a help from Kaz and Daniels, pins Joe, the TV champion, and gets their team the victory, giving Magnus big momentum towards his no DQ match against Samoa Joe this Sunday for the television title, and also giving, even though they didn't get the win by the pin, Daniels and Kaz did get the victory with the team, sending their big message to Chavo and Hernandez for their match for the tag titles this Sunday. Speaking of matches at Turning Point this Sunday, over the last segment, which involved Austin Aries and Jeff Hardy. Now, 2 weeks ago, Austin Aries stole Jeff Hardy's TNA title. The TNA title, not the Jeff Hardy belt. The regular TNA title belt. Austin Aries took it. And apparently they have made it into a ladder match. I heard it was a ladder match, but they officially kind of made it a ladder match last week. Like I said, I didn't watch last week. So apparently they must have made it last week. So it'll be a ladder match between Aries and Hardy. And like I said, Aries had the other belt of Hardy's. And Hogan was like, Aries, if you don't give Hardy his belt back, you won't get a title shot this Sunday. So Aries came out at the end with a bunch of ladders. and talked about how he wasn't going to give Hardy the belt back unless he come out and fight for it like a man, blah, 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 blah. So indeed, Jeff Hardy did come out, beat the crap out of Aries, gets back both belts, and hangs them up high as symbolism for their match this Sunday as Jeff Hardy climbs the ladder and kind of grabs both belts, kind of signaling what could happen this Sunday and Jeff Hardy could win. But Austin Aries had the last word, however. As Hardy was on top of the ladder, Austin Aries came back up after being attacked by Hardy, knocking Hardy off the ladder, and Aries climbed the ladder, showing what could happen with him retrieving the belts and retaining the TNA World Championship this Sunday in their ladder match, which is, of course, Hardy's big matchup, as we all know from his days in WWE and now TNA, of course. So they're going to be ending with Austin Aries delivering the last word to Jeff Hardy, giving himself momentum and a big message to Hardy for their ladder match this Sunday at Turning Point, adding a little bit more fuel to their fire. The feud's been a slow build since the Bound for Glory match, but I have Austin Aries going full heel now. He was a great heel in his X Division champion. He was a great heel. He's a great heel again. So there you go, Austin Aries, Jeff Hardy Sunday match feud with Austin Aries attacking Hardy. Now, like I said, going into Turning Point was okay Impact tonight. Decent things happening. The Austin Aries Hardy feud was decent ending. Bobby Roode, I like that match with him and AJ despite the James Storm ending. Screwy ending with the Ace and Eights match. And a lot of new matches added for Turning Point. And here's the card for now. Of course, Hardy Aries for the TNA title ladder match. Television title, no DQ. Magnus against Joe. TNA Tag Team titles, Hernandez and Chavo against Kaz and Daniels. X Division Championship, RVD, who, like I said, was in Mount Pleasant tonight for a house show, taking on Joey Wyatt, with Matt Morgan banned from ringside. Mixed tag match, Tara and Jesse taking on ODB and AY, Eric Young. Also, couple Ace and Eights versus TNA matches. Doc, a.k.a. Festus, a.k.a. Luke Gallows, takes on Joseph Park. And Devon takes on Kurt Angle. And I think that's all the matches. Oh, the number one contenders match, of course. James Storm, Bobby Roode, and AJ Styles, triple threat. Winner gets a shot against whoever the champ, Hardy or Aries, at Final Resolution. Loser doesn't get a shot until at least Bound for Glory next year. So there you go. That is it for my Impact Wrestling review. It's okay one tonight. Heading towards the pay-per-view. See you later. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you all very much for watching. See you later. Thank you for watching again. Thank you. Yeah.